What is going on, everybody? Frankie Cavone here of Mirth Films, and here again just for another Editing with Frankie live stream. This is something that I want to get back into the habit of doing and share the photos that I'm editing and show you guys how I'm editing these photos. And today's photos are from Formula 5's performance, reunion performance at Putnam Place over the weekend. What an incredible show! Wow, brought back so many good memories, and let's just jump into the photos today. As all of you know, the best way to support Mirth Films is on our YouTube channel by heading over to YouTube and just simply subscribing. That out of anything, if you want to provide any support for us, that's the best way to do it. And thank you for everybody who supported us over the past 5 years. We obviously have a 5-year anniversary party coming up at Putnam Place, December 15th. It's a gala. And if you haven't seen the promo yet, go and check it out. Big thanks to Caleb Lewis for helping create that, because without Caleb, that wouldn't have been possible either. But here we go. We're going to get right into this. Going to be editing right on Adobe Lightroom. And my camera selection for the night was my Canon R5 for the 24-70mm f2.8 version 2. Swapping it on and off with a couple other lenses, including the Canon 14-35 RF. But really didn't shoot a lot of photos. As I also look at my photo count, 765 photos. Definitely a lot, but two bands. Usually I shoot around 250 photos a pop for each if it's a headlining band and I have full access. I am going to shoot as much as I can. But we were also recording the show, so expect I think we did like 9 or 10 cameras, a 9 or 10 camera live recording premiere that's going to happen on Wednesday, so you can rewatch the Formula 5 reunion show if you didn't get to make it, or you just want to relive the experience. You definitely can, and all of that's right on our YouTube channel. But we're going to get started here. We got starting off with some pictures of Hilltop. We got David Klang with these guys, so amazing. I mean, just see them improve as much as they have. And just see the skills that they have as well. I mean, they're producing more songs than they have over the past couple of years. And to see Hilltop grow into the band that they are is really incredible, and we're lucky to have them here in the Capital Region. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start it off. It was Dave's face was looking a little purple, so I'm changing the tint to kind of give it more of a human color tone as far as skin goes, and just simply playing with the sliders. I always start with my exposure, contrast, and then secondary go to my shadows or highlights. I don't really like to mess with them because you can make a photo look pretty unnatural pretty fast, but this is something sharp as a tack. Little high ISO. We were shooting at ISO 2500 on a 45 megapixel camera, so expect some grain, but thanks to Adobe and their latest updates this year, I mean, Lightroom is incredible. Some of the things that you can do in it compared to what you could just a couple years ago is amazing. So I'm going to go over to denoise, and usually you would have a denoise slider back in a couple years ago, but now you can go and select how much you want it to denoise. And if you look, we're about to clean this image up. This is only the first image of the series, so buckle in, because I have 765 more photos to go through. If anybody has any questions throughout the process of me doing these edits, please let me know. It would be cool to communicate what I'm doing here. And again, thank you for tuning in. It's a Sunday. The Steelers just won. Just had some good buffalo chicken pizza. Most underrated place to get buffalo chicken pizza in the Capital Region, Hannaford. You would never think it, but goddamn, that is some good buffalo chicken pizza for sure. So this is fueled by Hannaford, Red Bull, and H2O. Decided to skip out on the show yesterday just because of how tired I was. So if you made it up to Neon Avenue, awesome. One of the great Grateful Dead cover bands that we have in this area. But just kind of going through here. These are just I don't know. I always try to fire off a couple photos before I start really getting into my photography while I'm at a show, because I want to know what kind of light I'm working with, where to put my camera settings. Mainly, I will adjust my camera settings often depending on what type of lens I'm using, because if I'm using a prime, I definitely don't have to crank my ISO. And if you're wondering, how do I simply improve the quality of my photo, speaking just on noise terms, and you don't want your photo to be grainy, and you are using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, get a prime lens. That will solve your issues, and for most situations while you're shooting a concert, if it's a club, you're going to get some great results. So one of the things that I do is I love to have a 50 millimeter on me at all times, and a Canon 85 millimeter as well. But looking at this photo here, I'm not really the biggest fan, so I'm just going to continue. I don't like getting hung up on my photos. If it's something I want to save, I will do my best to try to save the photo. But just getting through all the different faces of David Klang right now. So we got Eris, leader of Hilltop, if you even want to say that. They're all very active in their songwriting and just playing just live. I mean, all of them share different parts. They all add something great to the greater cause. This I'm not really a fan of. We're I don't know. I don't like the purpleness in Eris's face. So again, this is where I'm either going to make the photo black and white, which is not a bad idea. And speaking of black and white, Miles Hurley, big shout out to Miles Hurley. Haven't seen you in a long time, since ADK Fest. And some of the photos he produced were amazing. And I love the fact that he thinks outside of the box, and takes risks. I mean, taking risks. Jesus, I can't even talk. But taking a risk in photography is always awesome, because then you're like, you don't have to second guess yourself. You tried your hardest, and yeah, it's always good to switch things up here. So this I'm not really a fan of. You can tell his face is kind of out of focus here. But that's what it's about, just taking them and not knowing not everything's a keeper. So here we go. Look at that combat face, Eris of Hilltop. Love it. So now I'm just going to kind of surf through the 4 photos I took during this series to make sure I'm picking the best one out of the bunch. But I think naturally I'm just going to go with this photo right here. Big fan. Can't really pull out the skin tone without making this photo super yellow, which also does have its own flair to it, but that's not really my thing. I'm just going to look at some of these presets that I have, see how it look black and white, and see if maybe I can get some inspiration. So here we go. High contrast, that's something good I can work with. I'm going to bring the amount of the LUT down so I can work with it below on the sliders a little more. But yeah, so far I got something to work with. We do have a little grain here. It's probably hard to see through the computer, but if you look up here, look at all that noise. We're going to get rid of that right now by just going to the handy dandy denoise feature right on Lightroom. Super easy to use. And again, if anybody has any questions on how I'm doing what I'm doing, please let me know. And as always, the best way to support Mirth Films is by subscribing to our YouTube channel. So head over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, and because we've got a lot of awesome content. There's still so many different concerts from over the summer, festivals including Rye Bread, 80K Music Fest, Eastbound Throwdown, tons of full show recordings that we're going to be putting out. Currently working on the scunches, but most importantly right now, trying to get that Formula 5 reunion show out the door. So expect a premiere on Wednesday this week. Tonight, after I get done with all these photos, I am going to be putting the video together, and we got a 10 camera video of the recording of it. Shout out to Mike McDonald for capturing the audio, so we'll have that as well. But getting back into it here, just deleting some of these of the series since I've already looked at these photos and know what I'm looking for. This is something I was trying to do, just trying to use drummer Reed Perry, as kind of a foreground for a different shot from the side of the stage. I actually like this. So you know what? I'm going to go right here. We got David Klang looking right at Reed. Got to love the eye contact. So I'm going to just raise my exposure a hair to see what I'm working with, bring some contrast in, and then also play with the tint. This also, I do kind of like the colors in this. Sometimes I don't like any color on the people's face. I want to keep it as natural as possible. That's just me. But this is something I can work with here. So again, we're getting some grain patterns back here. So I am going to first put a little clarity on it and then go down to denoise. And I'm not going to denoise this photo that much. Just because it's already pretty clean and I don't want it to look super unnatural. That is a pet peeve of mine. I'd rather take a little grain than just completely making my photo look like a painting. I don't know. It's cool to do that, but not really for me. So we're letting it do its thing. It takes a couple seconds for denoise to actually show up in the photo. So we're going to see here, and I'm just going to zoom in just so you can see this this grain just dissipate. It's gonna be amazing. This is the stuff that I live for. So here we go. Anytime now, Lightroom. Editing on a decent laptop right now. I have a MacBook Pro, but well, yeah, look at that. Gone. Not gone, but you know, gone enough. Gone with the wind. So going through more of this series. Got some drumstick action. Shout out again to all of Hilltop for really just making a name for themselves. I think they went and played in Vermont, if I remember correctly, but the next day. But yeah, and just opening up for Formula 5, one of the greatest jam bands to ever come from our area. There, I said it. I don't know, just it's so cool to see. Even though all good things come to an end, there's other bands out there really making a name for themselves, and you should go support them. There's concerts, hundreds of concerts a month here in the capital region, so there's no excuse. Go support live and local music. Here's a fun photo I took of Reed as well, but don't want to raise the exposure too much here, so I'm going to bring it up. What's up, Dave Eamon Sr.? Good to see ya. Happy Sunday. So let's see what we can do here. You know what? Maybe I'll get a little more creative, add a LUT to it, and see what we're working with here. Make the photo look a little more funkier than it already is. So I like the turquoise and red. I love the warm contrast, and I'm already sold on it. And you know what? This grain actually looks pretty cool with this LUT, so I'm going to keep it and move on because we got a lot of photos. I might duck out early just so I can get started on this edit for Formula 5 because I'm really happy with the way that video came out. And also, the band really pretty much helped me get my start in the live and local music industry. If I didn't have an in like that and also Pete Mason, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here editing concert photos in front of you. And a lot has passed. A lot of time has passed since they last played in 2019. And just like having different skill set than I used to, this was a really cool opportunity to kind of just be full circle with all of this and give Formula 5 the best video I possibly could, bringing out all my cameras, yada, yada, yada. So, continuing on here, I'm going to keep this second photo of Reed, just add some more denoise. This is like something now I make it a habit of doing every time I edit a photo is using the denoise tool. There's probably going to come a time where I get annoyed with using it, but at least for the quality of the photo and retaining that information and not making it look unrealistic, it's really cool how the denoise feature works here in Lightroom these days. So just continuing through, we're happy with what I already have here, and yeah, my goal is to just kind of just weed out the bad photos, keep the good ones, export these photos. They are a couple days late. Speaking of the concert, happened on Friday, but just moved into a new apartment. Welcome to the new location of my live streams and everything else that I'll be doing now. Officially a Troilet again, and I'm proud of it. So this is a double exposure that I am not a fan of. Sometimes when you do these double exposures, you can make them look super corny, and this one looks super corny to me. So I was trying to just play off defocus on the lights and then take the second exposure, which if you're doing that, I find it best, it works when you take the out of focus or the top layer first and then really just like get that subject in for the second photo. But we're just going to get rid of that because it looks like trash. But continuing on here, we got Congo Steve, the one and only Congo Steve. Steve Plu, the AI denoise is incredible now. Damn straight it is. Totally worth totally worth it for having to pay a monthly subscription. Adobe's been on fire lately. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm still, knock on wood, and for a long time going to be using my student discount even though I graduated in 2016. So take advantage of that. If you still have a school email, maybe you can save some money. I think the total Adobe Creative Cloud is like $60 or $70 a month now. I still pay like $30. Don't tell Adobe, everybody. But yeah, Hilltop's next show is coming up. They're going to be opening up on the 29th for Annie in the Water at the Co's Music Hall. So if you're sticking around town and not going down to see Fish in New York City, definitely a great place to go to a concert and support some of the greatest jam bands that we've had come out of the area in a long time. So here we go. Just keeping at least one of these photos to make sure I have a photo of Congo Steve. I know I have a better one, but just in case I get through these photos and look back and just, I don't know, don't feel like I have something to give them. That's just something I do as a safety net. We got a shot of Eris here. What was I using here? 2470 millimeter f2.8 version 2. So coming through, looking through these photos, I think I like that one the most out of these three. So I'm going to delete these two and then see what I can do with my color temperature, which I do kind of like the blue hue too. But maybe I can make it even look cooler. There we go. So now we got more of a natural look for the photo. I'm going to raise my exposure a decent amount. Got a lot of grain pattern. Again, shooting with Canon R5 in low light. Not always the best. Kind of wish I brought out the 5D Mark III for this one too. But so we got some noise here. You can obviously see. Really like this exposure of Eris, but I'm going to denoise just a hair, not too much, maybe like 20. And then click Enhance, let it do its thing. And yeah, this is it. This is the life. You know, it doesn't end when you get done taking the photos. Sometimes days like this or weekends like this where I just didn't have the time to get to the photos the next morning because I had video priorities. You know, it's fun to take your time with it. This is where you can learn to get creative or try new techniques. But in my instance, again, trying to blast through these photos so that way I can get to editing Formula 5 set so that way you guys can watch it on time on Wednesday. I just spilled a bunch of Red Bull on me, which is a waste because these cans of Red Bull are basically, you know, over $3. And they don't do anything. If you really want to get, you know, a caffeine buzz and you need it fast for the work you're doing, Celsius or Bang energy drink, don't recommend them. Drinking them too often. I definitely have to cut back on the energy drinks myself, but you know, whatever gets the job done, right? Dylan McKenzie joining in the chat. I hate when I have to edit 1,200 photos. God damn, tell me. I mean, every festival this summer felt like I had at least 5,000 shots that I went through, and I tried to just bang them out right away because having that stuff hang over my head is the biggest nightmare that I have. So the reason why I tried, so obviously it's good to get stuff done on a timely manner for your clients, but I'm just super anal about it. I just don't want to extra work weighing over me, and also you can take that time and get more work, you know. So as long as you have a good routine and you're not burning yourself out, then you are on the right track. So here we go again. Like the shot of Congo Steve, but I am going to denoise this photo. It's like every photo I've denoised so far. I was also shooting, you know, f2.8. You would think that would be enough for low light photography. Obviously, it could be lower. I should have just stuck with my 51.2 the whole time. But, you know, sometimes when you're in the moment, the best lens you have is the one on you, even if that's your phone. But yeah, I try not to switch lenses too much sometimes. Most of the time I would shoot with two bodies at one time. And I'm actually trying to get better at shooting just one body solely. So I don't know. I don't have two cameras that I'm hanging around with. And it just gets kind of annoying sometimes. But this is what I did sign up for. Love that shot of Steve, but it's definitely a little hazy. Let's see what else we have in this series of photos here. Just going to surf through. Like that one a little more. Like that even more. So, and I'm going to peek in here. Looks pretty sharp. The only, you know, I still got that grain, but whatever. I think this would be a cool black and white photo. So I'm going to bring down my vibrance and saturation, and then boost the exposure, bring up my contrast, bring down the blacks, bring down the whites, and then bring down the shadow just a little bit, give that photo a little personality, and then maybe I'll even bring down the exposure. Boom. And you know what? That grain's not the worst, but we are getting that radial pattern of grain, which is a lot different from the grain that you would get from a photo that you're taking with a DSLR. So it's just a pet peeve of mine, and if we have the technology today's age, why not, you know, try to make your photos look the best they possibly can, because if you're a photographer, you know how many photos you're going to be taking over your lifetime. So, you know, process them, get them done, revisit the good ones that you always look back on, and yeah. Dylan McKenzie, some of my crap shots turned black and white to save them. Yes, that is a great way about it's a great way to go about it. But also, if you got that red light or you got that blue light in your photo and it's just not coming out in the white balance, then get rid of it by either making it black and white or just don't save the photo. Or if you like those colors, then go for it too. That's cool. But still surfing through here, more photos of Congo Steve. We're about to get up to another double exposure that I was really happy I took, and who knows if it even came out good. I can't remember. The PBRs were flowing that night. So this is not bad. I like it. But let's see if we got something better. I like that too, but look, I'll tell you, Eris makes some of the best faces. As a guitarist, I sometimes I look at him when he's playing. I'm just like, and he's looking out. And it's like, what are you looking for, man? I don't know. But he definitely gets into it. And I have so much respect for Eris. He's been somebody who's just been on his game, playing in different bands, including the Laura Lee band. And seeing that side of Eris was just a whole different style of playing a little more bluegrass, and not so much funk as you can find in Hilltop. So see, and I mean, it's got to help in his guitar playing too. I mean, playing different stuff definitely will expand your mind, or just shooting differently, or shooting with a different lens if we're talking photography. Amanda Goldberg, Formula 5 for the win. Yes, Amanda, Formula 5 for the win. Got our first show in 4 years. I believe 2019 was the last time they performed, and relive it all again on this Wednesday, as you will be able to watch the show right from the Mirth Films YouTube channel. That double Steve Plew, that double exposure is wicked cool. It's similar to bracketing. Yes, it is similar to bracketing. And I can't remember if bracketing composites your photos right within the body of the camera, but at least for when you're taking double exposures on a Canon or Nikon, because you can't do double exposures on a Sony, they will give you both of the frames along with the composited frame. So if you did want to adjust your exposure differently per the photo, you can do that. Yukon Min, what's up, man? Good to hear from you, Yukon. It's been a while. I'm gonna keep this photo. It looks great. That's another thing too. You may take a photo, you don't like it then and there, but if it's comes out somewhat the way you want it to look, then awesome. I really don't think this is a good photo, but I'm gonna move on, because who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. We got more shots of Congo Steve, making my way around town of the stage. I don't even know why I just said town. I like this. I'm using the Canon 14-35 RF. Love that lens. But this is where denoise really comes in handy, because you're shooting at f4 with that lens. If you don't have the 15-35, this is a good cheaper alternative, or even just buying the older EF 16-35 millimeter f2.8. Either of the three versions are great from what I've heard. But surfing through here, not happy with it. Missing focus left and right. Gotta love it. So now I'm like, okay, I don't want to delete everything here without knowing what I'm working with. So I'm waiting for Steve's head to turn, which it did. So this is something I can work with here. And I really don't know what I like as far as, drummers with their sticks. People have different preferences, but I try to look for a couple shots that have some movement, and if the shot, and there might be times where the drumsticks look like they're out of focus from the shutter being too slow. I think that's cool. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. This photo would be great in black and white, so let's just go ahead and make this photo black and white. And look at all that grain. But this is where we're going to have fun with it. I'm going to go right again to the denoise tab. And then probably bring this up to 50. I don't want to make it too oily. But you know what? Look at that grain. There's nothing we can do about that. So we're going to let the computer do its work here. If anybody has any questions about what I do, how I go about my photos, what gear I'm using, feel free to ask away. And again, we do have the Mirth Films 5-year anniversary party happening December 15th at Putnam Place. It's a gala. Hope everybody can make it out. It's going to be Glass Pony, The Scunches, and Big Time Kitty all playing sets. And we're also doing a live podcast right from Putnam Place right before the show. So come out early. You might even find yourself right on the podcast if you ever wanted to come on, because the way we're shifting things at Mirth Films, who knows if we'll have a podcast going forward. But that is to be determined. But if that is the case, we have some content ideas we're really looking forward to pushing, not only for you guys, but for us creatively to stay happy with what we're making. That's super important. But we're going to get back into it now that the denoise tab is done. And look how much that photo cleaned up. I mean, you can still see it if you really zoom in, but, it's a little too denoisy, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Go back through here, get rid of some of these other shots I'm just really not thrilled with. Can't keep everything. Or you can, I guess. Some might dig right here. So what we can do, bring up the contrast just a hair. Don't want to make this photo too dark. I'll keep it. Move on. We keep moving on here. That's what it's about. Happy Sunday. If you're a fan of football, I hope your team won. Steelers won today. I don't know much about the Steelers in 2023, but definitely cool to watch them like old times with my dad and my dad's buddy Bruce. And yeah, now just hanging out at the new apartment and editing these photos for you guys as I surf through a lot of out of focus shots. Like even this is a cool wide shot. But look how much empty space there is right here. I gotta say, like it's nice to have the focal length to be able to get what you want to get, but this does nothing for me. This is like almost, a third of the photo. I think I just gotta get rid of this before I lose my mind here. That's a cool facial expression from Steve. Maybe I'll keep this one, but before I do that, I'm gonna see if there's a better one of Steve. Nope. So I'm gonna go back to the first one. Sometimes the first shot's always the best shot too. But, this is why you take a bunch so you can compare and contrast the shots that you got. Another photo with just so much grain, just buckets of grain. What are you going to do here? You can go right to the denoise tab. They should really make the detail tab closer on the list of menu items that they have right in that little toolbar because, the amount that I find myself using, not everybody shoots concert photography. I am shooting in a low light scenario a lot of the time, so I am somebody who does use the denoise tab a lot. But then again, there is something about that natural grain. If you can get it and you can achieve that, awesome. If you can't, you can't. It is what it is. So, but feel free to join in the chat if you want to talk photography or just jam bands or any other stupid thing that we do here at Mirth Films. We're going to continue on here. Not a fan. It's all right. I'm going to get rid of those photos. So this is where we're getting into Formula 5 territory. So excited to see these guys back. And big props. I think one of the MVPs of the night from Friday up at Putnam Place was Bill Shattuck. He held his own. And, he was an original member. Played on the first two albums of the band. But James Woods eventually took over. Shout out James Woods, one of the greatest people in the world. But to have Bill, Formula 5 related musician, playing the bass for these series of songs was great. And also seeing Matt Richards be able to play some tunes he hasn't played in a long time live. Props to him for being able to make the transition to Annie in the Water. And just seeing Matt play is a blessing in itself. But seeing Matt playing Formula 5, this is where he, at least for me, that's how I got to know Matt Richards. But just his skills really shine. Some of the songs they were writing before the band decided to take a break for a while. Blue, Breaking Glass, Getting Tough Again. I don't know if that's a Matt Richards song, but just all these incredible songs that just were never really fully played out because of the fact that but the fact that Formula 5 decided to take a break. It just, it just felt so good to see him play again. And they were on point, to say the least. But I'm going to level this photo out because it is a little curvy. I didn't get it perfectly center and straight, so I'm going to crop in a little bit because of the leveling tool. It definitely trimmed out some of the photo. So this is just a burner photo. If I don't find another full band shot that I don't like, here I go. Here I got it. So just going to raise the exposure of hair, but the shadows just a little bit too. But if you raise them too much, you can start seeing that circular grain. You don't want that. That's no good. What's up, Caitlin McCann? Wicked concept for a live stream. Thank you. Hayden Rogers, shut up before I come over there and slap your tits. Do your thing, man. But right now I'm editing some photos. We're going to bring in some contrast here. And then let's see what else we can do. Definitely going to put just a hair of denoise. Bring that down just a hair to 15. Don't want to denoise this photo that much. So, but this is it. Just processing photos. We started at 765 photos. We're at 628 now, which is a-okay. Rob Westcott, that's a great shot. Frankie, thank you very much, Rob. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, this denoise tool takes a little bit of time to work, but once it does its thing, it's just got to become a habit for you if you're a photographer, especially a concert photographer. Just staying up to date with all the different things out Lightroom. Not to sound like a salesman, but just to stay up to date with all the different features that are added. Because who knows, it might improve your creative ability or enhance it. Because it's all about getting the shot right in the camera. So here's another one. I got a little more light that I'm working with, not much, but let's just see. Yeah, no, I'm not taking that. Here we go, just surfing through. Now we're close to Joe Davis. So good to see him play guitar. Not saying I haven't seen him at all with Neon Avenue, but just Joe Davis in Formula 5 is just some of the greatest guitar work there is. Not to sound like a fangirl here, even though I am. Gonna bring down this tint just a little bit so I can get that natural skin tone back, bring up the exposure, bring up the contrast just a hair. And then we're still dealing with this noise situation. It was pretty dark, actually, for the lighting. Although the lighting was on point, whoever was doing it. I believe it was Derek Borst. Such a great dude. So here we go. Gonna use the denoise tool once again. So hope everybody's having a great Sunday night here. I know I'm definitely having a lot of fun editing these photos in front of you guys, and I can't wait to move along and just get working on this video for the band, which again will be out sometime on Wednesday, probably 7 o'clock, right on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. You can watch it as a premiere, 10 cameras, and some crispy audio eventually from Mike McDonald. Moving through here, continuing on. Not a fan, not a fan, not a fan. All right, just skipping through here, not to rush my photography, but yeah, just a lot of angles I'm not happy with, which is okay. You can't be happy with every photo you take. So I think this is just me excited to even be taking photos of the band once again, also while trying to monitor 10 different cameras. So here's a nice little smile from Matt Richards, gotta love it. But gonna move on here. Not a fan. Gonna come back to the first photo. I like that natural haze from the yellow. That actually looks really cool. Let's see what it looks like. You know, now if I add on a LUT, like flat green or red lift matte, it gives it that vintage look, you know? That's cool. I'm not usually one to use filters, but I started using them a couple of years ago and started realizing how much fun I was having with them. And especially if you can't get a photo tweaked the way you want to, sometimes looking at the photo in a different way always helps. So moving on here, getting through. Again, use the Canon R5 for this concert. Great camera, but yeah, low light situation is not really the best. This is where I should have just been sticking to the primes. I should have been using the 85-1.8, the 50mm 1.2. But here's a series of photos of Joe Davis, and you know, you gotta really think about how you want to present somebody. And for me, it's all on the lips when somebody's singing. That's really how I determine which photo of the series of photos of that person or subject I took, comes out. So this one's going to be a black and white. We were dealing with some red, we're dealing with some blue. There's no way we're pulling that out. So let's just bring down the vibrance and saturation and add a little clarity, not too much. And then we still have more of that grain, unfortunately. So going back down to the denoise tab. Denoise, enhance, let it do its thing. Take a sip of Red Bull, and off you go. But yeah, usually it takes almost like 45, depending on, everybody has a different computer, so this denoise tool is going to work different for everybody, but for me, it's like 30 seconds before this thing processes. So I'm just going to let it do its thing, bring up the photo closer so you can watch the grain dissipate in just a couple seconds. Gone, not really, but definitely a cleaner image. I can work with it. So I'm going to keep going through these Joe Davis photos, lead guitarist of Formula 5. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in while I'm editing these photos. And if you have any suggestions on how I can improve this live stream, let me know. But continuing through, just got some more photos, just not as super happy with, and that's okay. As long as you got a couple from the show that you like, you're good, right? Definitely want to make sure you're doing your best at all times, but yeah, every show's a different lighting scenario. You're dealing with crowds, you're dealing with a lot of different factors, so just try to get comfortable with the situation that you're in, come with the lenses you might need, and who knows, even if you're shooting a venue you've never shot before, look it up online. Check out other photos from that venue. That's what I did when I went down to go photograph Solomon and Trey at the Stone Pony. Never seen I've seen photos from there, but I really wanted to see what I was working with, so got some inspiration beforehand, which was also super cool. Dylan McKenzie, these streams are so helpful for those who don't do concert photography. The pics are easy, but the editing is hard. The editing is hard, Again, you really do want to get everything dialed down in your camera. But if you can't, this is where editing comes into hand. So this is a fun picture of the one and only Bill Shattuck, MVP of the night. So I'm going to keep this one right here, turn this photo black and white. Miles, I understand why you turned all your photos black and white, because, yeah, I mean, the light situation wasn't the greatest to work with, and so I'm raising my exposure a little bit. I might add some clarity. It looks a little soft, and that looks all right to me. So I'm going to bring down the whites, bring down the blacks. Now we got some personality to the photo. Steve Plew, first time seeing Formula 5, and they were insane. Your setup was very impressive, man. Also, to see us share your workflow too, most won't. It was great to meet you, and thanks again for letting me pull your feet. Thank you, man. It was a pleasure to meet you. I hope to work with you again soon. And my apologies if I can't read, because I really don't know how to read. Hey, even if you want to type a long sentence and want me to read it and watch me fumble as I do it, I can do that too. Whatever you need. But yeah, just bringing down some of these blacks. We're getting a lot of noise, and I feel like if I do try to soften this, denoise this photo, it's going to look too soft. So I'm just going to get rid of it. I got something from this series already, but who knows? Maybe I'll find a different facial expression from Bill that I like more. So this is something that I do prefer over the other photo I just edited. But we do have some stuff here in the foreground, which I could easily take out in Photoshop, but I think I'm just going to keep the frame as it is. So just continuing through, looking at these. Who knows? Maybe I'll keep this photo right here. I do like it. Oh, that looks cool. Red lift matte, always a go-to, at least for my style of photography. I love this. What's up, Chris Walker? How you doing, man? We got just a little contrast we're adding here, and then also going to bring the tint down. And look at that. We got a little like goldish green coloring in the back. So going to boost the clarity just a hair, and boom, I like that. It's probably one of my favorite photos so far of from the night. Going to continue through here and see what else we got. If anybody is looking to sponsor anything, we're always looking for sponsors here at Mirth Films. If you're an energy drink company, even better. I'll work for energy drinks. Doesn't matter what kind, as long as it has caffeine. That is bueno. Or even a coffee shop. That would be a cool sponsor to have. Here we go. Greg Merrick on the drums. Let's see what we got here. So I'll stick with this first photo of Greg. I like the face. But again, that grain sucks. So what I'll do is I'll probably add red lift matte and then do a little denoise. What's up, Mike McDonald? How you doing, man? Thank you. Wish I could have made it out last night. Definitely went too hard on Friday night for Formula 5. For those watching, didn't know, Mike McDonald was a founding member of Formula 5 and is now in a band with Joe called Neon Avenue, along with Matt, Mike Castles, Mike Urban, Doug Klein. Just a great group of musicians, and just to see them both still playing music, for me is, and I'm sure a lot of other people who are fans of Formula 5 and all other bands attached, like Stone Revival Band, just seeing people playing music is amazing. Continuing through, I'm not a fan of these photos. Decent facial expression, but I'm guessing I shot this with a 70-200. Yep, 70-200. It really compresses that background, adding for background blur, but this, it just makes the photo look flat. Love Bill Smirk in this photo. So I'm going to, let's see, play with the red lift matte. Already takes that purple right out. I like the faded look with it too. So I'm going to keep it. Clarity, bring down the highlights just a hair, not too much, but just enough. And for those who did want to tune in, again, this Wednesday is my plan to put out the Formula 5 reunion show from Putnam Place right on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe so you can get alerted when the video premieres, because it was an epic show. And I hope Formula 5 does something after this. I mean, just the fact that they played together was just so special, and you could tell they picked up right where they left off. What a talented group of musicians. But we already knew this. Dylan McKenzie, I've done concert photography with a 400mm lens. Honestly, Dylan, I got to get on your game. Anytime shooting SPAC or any venue that sticks you at a soundboard, you need a 400 or higher. 400 to 600 would be nice. Sigma makes a nice 150 to 600 millimeter for Canon, Nikon, Sony. Definitely a lens worth checking out if you want to blow the budget and want a big telephoto lens. It's also great for bird photography too. And if you are buying older EF glass, it's totally okay for your Canon cameras because the adapter works amazing right for the Canon cameras. Definitely try to save money where you can, but if you're going to be spending bank, definitely be putting your money towards your glass, because that's what's going to hold its value in the long run, and that's what's going to produce the images that you're looking for. Let's see what else we got here. Going through. Let's see here. Just want to make sure audio is good here. After 400 millimeters, you need a mono or tripod. You're right, Dylan. Definitely don't want those shaky images, or because especially you're going to be shooting, if you're shooting a ranged super telephoto, you're probably not getting the best f-stop range. So, that shutter speed's going to have to stay pretty low. If it's bird photography, that's a different story. But I mean, for concert photography, 400 millimeters handheld, yeah, you're definitely going to want a monopod. Most venues will let you use a monopod inside unless otherwise stated in whatever situation you have with the publicist or just the band themselves if you're doing stuff for the band. But just letting this photo develop using Adobe's denoise feature. So we're just taking a quick second here. All right, just continuing through. Looks like it cleaned it up just a hair. And then maybe I'll add a filter. Who knows? Maybe I'll pass on the filter. So I'm just going to continue on. Maybe we can find a better photo of Greg playing with a better drumstick positioning look to it. I don't know what the hell I just said. But just continuing on here. Rob Westcott, they played an after party for Rock the Dock last year and blew me away. Hell yeah, that was a great. That was a OGF5 reunion as well. I mean, playing songs from the first two albums, super cool. And who knows? Maybe one day they're back at their their festival, Rock the Dock, which shout out to Luke Dow for putting on the festival each and every single year. We had Galactic this past year as a headliner. 2 years ago, we had Twiddle, and a litter of other bands, including Aggie, Annie in the Water, and much more. A lot of those sets you can find right on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. So definitely go and rewatch those. Eastbound Jesus, Aggie, and I believe Hilltop are all on the Mirth Films YouTube channel right now. And stay tuned for other sets. If there's any sets of music that you know we recorded that you want to see, let us know, because we have a ton of music to go through. So nothing makes me happier than seeing Matt Richards smile, especially smiling while playing with Annie and the Jesus Christ, while playing with Formula 5. So I'm going to use a LUT here. Move on, add some clarity, and then take out some of those highlights, and then you got that red in the photo, but not really much you can do with it. So I'm just going to leave the photo as is and move on. Rob Westcott, Chestnut Grove. Chestnut Grove set is also up on the Mirth Films YouTube channel, so definitely go watch that. Shout out to Chestnut Grove, who played their last show this past Friday, I believe at the Ardmore Music Hall in Pennsylvania, and another one of those bands, one of the greatest bands to me, musically, live, and just their songwriting abilities are amazing. They they don't rate the same song twice, and I definitely appreciate that as a fan of music. So these photos, yeah, they're coming out pretty good, but again, we're working with a dark lit scenario, so unfortunately gonna have to bring down the vibrance and saturation. Be careful if I'm adding clarity, because I'm already getting a shit ton of grain. So we're gonna see if I'm able to get this noise out of the corner of the photo. So going back to the denoise tool, I'm gonna bring this up to 37, because I randomly clicked 37. Here we go, 44, enhance, boom. Just letting it do its thing again. Let the computer do its work when you can. Dylan McKenzie, I'm hoping to get a Sony FE100 to 400 f4 to 5.6 next year, mostly for wildlife, but hopefully some daytime concert work too. Dylan, that would be incredible. I love your nature photography work, and trying different things. Dylan McKenzie, shout out, 6-man of Mirth Films, but yeah, just shout out to Dylan McKenzie for always being a big supporter of Mirth, and shout out to everybody who's ever supported Mirth Films throughout this 5-year journey that we've been on, and I can't wait to do it for another 5 years. So cheers to that. If you don't have a beer, grab a Red Bull. If you don't have a Red Bull, grab a glass of water, because staying hydrated is important. Just going to move on here. I do like this. I just want to go through and see if I can get any inspiration from these LUTs, which I do not have. So it looks like this also is going to be black and white as well. So that's just something you have to deal with as a photographer. And look at that grain. It looks so disgusting. You could probably see it right through your monitor yourself. But this is where, again, I'm gonna get rid of it all using the denoise tool. I probably said denoise tool like, I don't know, 100 times now. I've used it on pretty much every one of these photos. But that's why you appreciate good lighting, bright lighting. You don't always get it in clubs, and a lot of the times having bright lighting as a musician, I'm sure, is annoying, because you just want to, set the mood. So I'm going to keep this stream going for just a little bit longer, just because I do have to process through the Formula 5 video, which I can't wait to do. It's been so long since I've got to work on a Formula 5 video, and just looking forward to doing it again. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know on just what I'm doing, or if you have a gear related question, you got a special gift you want to buy somebody, and you just don't know what camera to get or what piece of tech to get, just shoot us a comment right here on the live video, and we'll try to answer that. I'll try to answer it for you live right here. But yeah, so that's one thing I do love doing and would like to do more in 2024, is more photography, video related videos as far as teaching, explaining gear, how to use things, try different techniques. So expect that. It was something I was doing a lot at the beginning half of the year, but then life just got to me, and didn't really have the time for it. So Dylan McKenzie, don't forget the gaffer's tape. Are you even a photographer, videographer if you don't have a roll of gaffer's tape? I mean, come on. That photo actually got cleaned up pretty good of Matt. So we're going to move on here all over the place with my brain. Let's see this. Let's see if we can get any. So we got a little light on his back. That's something I can deal with. I like that. And this is where I'm going to bring up the exposure of hair, bring up the contrast, and then see what I have for my LUTs, if anything works. I do like that. I think I'm going to go with that and keep it the way it is. Move on. It has some natural grain, which is nice. But let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we're working with here. All right, we got a nice behind the stage shot. Definitely a go-to shot if you're a photographer and are shooting at the Putnam Place. Fun shot to get. Usually security, if there is any, are okay. Well, don't take my word for it, but you know, you're in your trust with a venue. They'll take care of you, and Putnam Place has always been great to me, and it's nice that they allow me to have the access that I do when I'm there, and but also Formula 5 for letting me be back here to shoot. So I don't know. I think I might make this photo black and white. I kind of like the faded look to it, so I'm just gonna play with it, bring some exposure in, and then also just use some denoise, because why not? So maybe I'll go 31. That works. Just punching through these photos. Happy Sunday. Didn't get your tickets yet, which actually you can only get your tickets at the door for It's a Gala at December 15th with Glass Pony, the Scunches, and Big Time Kitty. Do so. Save the date if you're able to make it. Come out and celebrate 5 years of Mirth Films. We'll have signature mixed drinks if all goes to plan. And if you know me, we're definitely going to have Bush there, even if I have to buy it. So if what's your favorite beer, let me know in the comments below. Start a little conversation here while I'm editing these photos. I know my favorite beer on camera is Bush, but my favorite beer behind the scenes is not even beer. I go for a Vizzy right now, but it is also Sunday ahead of a work week, so not the smartest thing to do. But hey, if you got them, drink them. Continuing through here, get a little off topic as I surf through these photos, as we have 410 photos to go total. Not a fan of the low angle. Definitely hopped directly behind Joe at one point. Was definitely getting a little eager taking these photos. Speaking that, Formula 5 doesn't reunite every single day, so just really cool to be a part of tonight. Miles Hurley, my photo editing strategy of the last year or so has been leaned hard on embracing the grain. Shots look awesome, Frankie. Miles, your shots looked awesome, man. I definitely love all your crowd shots and just being front and center the whole time during the show and capturing the band and just I mean, Formula 5, so happy to see those guys doing it and performing at a level they were when they called it quits. So just really cool that it's all full circle, and shout out to Miles for coming out all the way just to see them reunite. I mean, that's something. So not a fan of this photo at all. Looking a little funky with the colors, but embracing the grain is important, for sure. Gotta agree there. Not a fan there either. Just goddamn. Continuing through. This is all right. This photo still looks a little soft to me. We got Max O'Connell here, #1 Formula 5 fan there is, standing right up there, and let's see if we can find him, Miles. No Miles, but we got Casey of Dogs over in the front. Ooh, I like what's happening here with this LUT. So you know what? I'm going to just boost the contrast a little bit. And while it doesn't have a lot of grain, I am going to get rid of some of the grain because we've got that radial pattern in the corner, which is just looks nasty to me. So I'm going to fix that. Just re-level the photo. Actually, that looks pretty cool. So going back to the denoise tab, 30 seems pretty good. I'm not going to completely wreck the photo and make it look like a painting. Yeah. Just continuing through. If anybody has any questions on how I'm doing what I'm doing, or what gear I use, or what gear you were looking to buy, and if it's a good piece of gear or not, if I can help you, just feel free to comment in the comment section down below here of this live video. Gonna check out the YouTube tab. We got nobody in the chat here, but we got most people hanging out on Facebook today. Just continuing through. This is the end of the first set, I believe. Cool wide shot, but there's no personality with this photo, so I'm getting rid of it ASAP. Let's see here. Got a band shot here. Big thing is making sure everybody's eyes are in focus and everybody's smiling and everybody has a good facial expression. So here we go. This is the backstage at Putnam Place. Definitely, yeah. Cool to see these guys all together. These guys are a bunch of great friends behind the music, so it's just cool to see them all together again. Definitely one of my favorite bands of all time, up there with Glass Pony. Got a little family photo right here. Chris Muir, another awesome epic bassist here from the Capital Region, in Annie in the Water. And if you don't know, then you're finding out now. But Annie in the Water playing Cohoes Music Hall, headlining, big show at again Cohoes Music Hall in Cohoes, New York. Just super pumped for those guys. So they've been working their ass off for a long time, and they've seen lineup changes, but some of the music that they've produced over the past 2.5 years are amazing. Sun at Dawn, definitely a jam and worth listening to all the way through as an album itself. So definitely go and check that out on Spotify or wherever you listen to your music, where they also have that. Miles Hurley, Glass Pony, finally coming to my hometown area in New Haven, Connecticut. Can't wait. Definitely go out to that, Miles. So good. Just so happy that to see them getting out of Albany, and I know they are too. So go support Glass Pony. And if you're not a fan of jam bands, this is a good crossover band. Or if you just like rock and roll, Glass Pony rocks. And they got 3 albums out right on Spotify. You got Glass Pony. You got Nowhere. What is it? I should know this. There's 3 albums. Go listen to them. That's all. Yeah, here we go. Washed Away, that was their latest album. Jesus, how can I not even remember that one? They also just put out a music video that we put together here at Mirth Films, so go check that out. For their song Doppler. You can watch it right on their on the Glass Pony YouTube channel. Nowhere Daydream, thank you, Miles. That is probably my favorite out of the 3 albums. It's just progressively really spread out music-wise, music sense-wise. There's hints of classic rock, jam, grunge, so many different things. So definitely worth going and listening, especially if you're from the Capital Region and you just don't know which local bands to go see, or you're overwhelmed on who to go see. Definitely worth checking out Glass Pony. Here's some more full band shots. It's kind of just like crowd foreground type of situation. And this is more just from me being lazy. And really also kind of just taking the music in. It's not something I get to do a lot. Just because I am trying to shoot as much as I can when I go to shows. But, definitely this was a treat seeing these guys play again. So I don't know. It was nice to kind of just kick back and enjoy the show. Even though we're doing a 10-camera recording, those cameras do the work for themselves once you get them up there. Not nearly as stressful as you would think, other than the setup and breakdown, which nobody likes breaking down. Well, everybody likes breaking down, but setting up's a pain in the ass. But that's why you just get to the show early. Show up early, show up on time. That way you're not stressing leading seconds up to the show, and it will make you look more professional too. Got to hit record on this again because Canon has a 30-minute record limit, which is super annoying. But on the R6 Mark II, I don't think it does have the 30-minute limit anymore. So it looks like Denoise just did its thing. Going to continue through these photos here. Gonna get through a few more before calling it quits on the stream, at least, just because I do have to process the show from over the weekend, so that way you guys again can watch it. Watch Formula 5, the reunion set at Putnam Place from this past Friday. You can watch it premiered at 7 p.m. on the Mirth Films YouTube channel this Wednesday. Got Lucas Freihofer right here. Gotta love Lucas. Lake George homie. Gonna add some clarity here. See how that looks. I like it. I like the silhouette of the band. So two things I'm going to do. Of course, I'm going to denoise because why not? But I'm going to level the photo out, number one. Just because my table also I'm editing on is not perfectly balanced. So my computer's at an angle right now. Definitely got to get a new desk sometime soon. But one thing at a time, right? Just going to denoise. No, I think I'm going to stop it right here as well. Everybody who is looking to go to see a concert later in December and wants to go out and support local, we are doing the Mirth Films It's a Gala formal party at Putnam Place on December 15th with Glass Pony, with the Scunches, and with Big Time Kitty, and we hope you can make it. Tickets are $10 at the door, and again, it's a celebration of Mirth Films and just, I don't know, just of the local music scene. We're just really excited to be a part of everything we've been a part of over the past 5 years. It's been such a fun journey working with so many different people, seeing friends come and go, and just making so much, I guess, more friendships and connections outside of Albany, New York. This is definitely something not only myself, but Doug, Brett, Amy are all super pumped for. So if you are going to come out on December 15th to It's a Gala, make sure you come dressed up, because you will not be let in if you come in with your khakis, with your blue jeans and your t-shirts. So thank you for tuning in to Editing with Frankie. I'm going to be trying to do this a lot more as time goes on, especially now that I'm settled into a new apartment and finally have a place that I'm happy with. Yeah, you're going to be expecting a lot more of this. So as always, support Mirth Films by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mirth Films. You've wanted the URL, but that's the best way you can support Mirth Films in 2023 and beyond. So thank you.